Hey y'all, welcome to day 86. That's right, we only have 4 more days to go. I am so excited, y'all. We are finishing this out strong. We have one psalm to get through today, so let's get started. Before we start reading, don't forget to please like this video, please share, go ahead and comment if you have any revelations, any thoughts, or even if you want to share one of your favorite verses from this journey, let me know. I want to hear from you. And always, if you are not subscribed yet to my channel, even after this is done, I will still be posting content, so make sure you click that button and then turn on your notifications to make sure you get alerted every time I post a new video. Alright, so we're going to start with Psalm 144 today. Actually, it's our only psalm. I'm going to read from the New King James Version. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle, my loving kindness and my fortress, my high tower and my deliverer, my shield and the one in whom I take refuge, who subdues my people under me. Lord, what is man that you take knowledge of him, or the Son of Man that you are mindful of him? Man is like a breath, his days are like a passing shadow. Bow down your heavens, O Lord, and come down. Touch the mountains, and they shall smoke. Flash forth lightning, and scatter them. Shoot out your arrows, and destroy them. Stretch out your hand from above. Rescue me, and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of foreigners, whose mouth speaks lying words, and whose right hand is a right hand of falsehood. I will sing a new song to you, O God. On a harp of 10 strings I will sing praises to you, the one who gives salvation to kings, who delivers David his servant from the deadly sword. Rescue me and deliver me from the hand of foreigners, whose mouth speaks lying words, and whose right hand is a right hand of falsehood, that our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth, that our daughters may be as pillars sculptured in a palace style, that our barns may be full, supplying all kinds of produce, that our sheep may bring forth thousands and 10,000s in our fields, that our oxen may be well laden, that there be no breaking in or going out, that there be no outcry in our streets. Happy are the people who are in such a state. Happy are the people whose God is in the Lord. So this is a psalm of deliverance, and David is asking God to defeat his enemies, these foreigners. This psalm is reminiscent of Psalm 18. It actually uses some of the same wording, and we also see Psalm 33 in here, so likely David was pulling from his own works to create this, although others may argue that someone else wrote this. They took pieces from, of course, David's works and put them together, rearranged them, and then accredited it back to David. Either way, though, this is a beautiful psalm. It has this very vivid imagery, and David has many descriptions of who God is to him. We see in verse 1 that God is his rock, that he is the trainer, he equips him for war. And then in verse 2, David has this long list. He is his loving kindness, his refuge, his fortress, his strong tower, his shield. And then he also says that he is the subduer. And then in verse 10, of course, David talks about God bringing salvation. So throughout this psalm, we see God in 2 capacities. The first, which we find in verses 1 through 11, is God as the deliverer. And then in verses 12 through 15, we see God as this grantor of grace, the grantor of blessings. And this is where I want to start my revelation. There is this transition from God the deliverer to God as the grantor of blessings, and I really want to dig into this. The transition is in verses 11 and 12, and it reads, Rescue me and deliver me from the hand of foreigners, whose mouth speaks lying words, and whose right hand is a right hand of falsehood, that our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth, that our daughters may be as pillars sculptured in palace style. So the transition here, or if you go to the Hebrew, there's more of a lack of transition, provides this notion that the blessing comes as a result of or in addition to the deliverance. And although this psalm is about literal enemies, the foreigners, and it's about physical deliverance, I immediately started thinking about how this looks spiritually. So what I see in verses 12 through 14 is these blessings of abundance. The latter part of verse 14, there's also this blessing of peace. Could it be that in order to receive, or better yet, in order to recognize the blessings, the abundance, and the peace, that we first have to be delivered from some things? So verses 1 and 2 establish who God is and what he does. And I believe that there is deliverance in coming to an understanding of just who God is and what God does for us. I also see then deliverance in verse 3 that comes with the realization that we are nothing, that he is everything, and he still loves us. Okay? And then in verses 5 through 6, it shows God's presence delivers us. That his glory coming down to us is in itself deliverance. And then in verse 9, I see this deliverance from complacency, or you could take it a step further and say deliverance from religion. And that deliverance comes from singing a new song, having a new song on our lips that comes from this place of a very personal relationship with God, that we are speaking and singing glory to him out of what we know from God, not as what others tell us about God. And then in verse 10 through 11, of course, we have this ultimate deliverance, and we get this ultimate spiritual deliverance from God through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So then, of course, we move into these blessings. We have a strong bloodline, financial security and wealth, and also this peace, which here is displayed or is portrayed by the lack of struggle. But if we go to verse 15, we find the key to all of this. It says, "Happy are the people who are in such a state. Happy are the people whose God is the Lord." What I see this saying is, yes, abundance and all of these things will make you happy. But without the presence of God, will happiness ever be complete? The spiritual deliverance that God gives us allows us to be happy in the first place, without any of these things. God can still make us happy even in our lack. But the deliverance also allows us to see God's blessings, to appreciate God's blessings, and also for us to acquire some things to have abundance out of that deliverance. So to tie it all together, we are supposed to seek God for deliverance. And deliverance does not have to be this big thing. It does not have to be necessarily about demonic spirits. Deliverance can also be, like I said earlier, coming to an understanding of who God is, of taking off the chains of religion and knowing God for yourself. Deliverance can come through a revelation when you are reading the Word, right? It doesn't always have to be a big event. And it is in those times, in that deliverance, that we can then begin to look for him for happiness, right? That we can begin to make him the center of our lives. And once that happens, then the abundance comes to us spiritually first. We find spiritual happiness that is not contingent upon any of the material things around us, but in the abundance of spiritual, perhaps we will take on abundance of natural things because we are in a place to be able to receive those things, and we are in a place to recognize our blessings when they come to us. So again, seek God. Seek him for deliverance and seek him for happiness, and all these other things will be added unto you. All right, that completes our fourth to the last day, y'all. Tomorrow I'll be back with another psalm, so I will see you then. Bye.